a big hand for our two representing candidates, I suppose, John Holland and Kiernan Majerus-Collins. We hope to have a friendly discussion here about the issues that are affecting this year's election between incumbent Barack Obama and Republican nominee Mitt Romney. Topics include foreign policy, fiscal problems, and social issues. Without further ado, let's begin the debate with opening statements. Did you guys have a coin toss? John Holland will be starting.
Students and teachers of Hall High School, I would like to thank you for attending this political debate. Here, you will see the stark differences between the Republican and Democratic platforms. I am representing Mitt Romney, and it's basically my job to convince you guys why you should vote for him. And now, about the purpose of government and the role of government. It can be summed up in one word: security. In forming a government, free individuals make a contract in which they give up some of their rights in exchange for the security that a government and law offers. This includes not only security in terms of military, but security of everybody's natural rights of life, liberty, and happiness. As Republicans, we believe that any law that goes beyond providing such security oversteps government boundaries and infringes on our freedom. We also believe strongly in the Constitution as it is written, that our founding fathers understood the purpose of government and wrote down strict guidelines in order to ensure that every citizen remains free and that the government fulfills its role and nothing more. In the past years, the U.S. government has overstepped these set boundaries, and we believe that lower tax rates and less government regulation and intervention grows and strengthens the economy, which, due to the millions who are unemployed and underemployed, is the most important issue in this election.
Thank you, David. I want to thank John for participating in this afternoon's debate. I want to thank Mr. Einhorn for allowing us to have this event. I think it's pretty exciting.
Turn the mic up! Turn the mic up!
My philosophy, the President's philosophy, and the Democratic Party's philosophy on the nature of government is simple. We believe in government of the people, by the people, and for the people, as that great Republican, that great liberal Republican, Abraham Lincoln put it. Government isn't some evil enemy that dropped out of the sky to take our money. It's an embodiment of us, the citizens of this great nation. Its arms and hands are our teachers, our soldiers, our firefighters and policemen. Its eyes and ears are our elected officials, from Mayor Slivka to the President of the United States. And its mind of the citizens. You control the government. It's not some mysterious force that you have to battle against. This is your government, and we need to treat it like it is. Given that we have the power over the government as citizens, we need to use that power to increase opportunity, liberty, and prosperity. We must secure for Americans a basic standard of living which all people deserve as human beings. We must provide the chance for upward mobility and the pursuit of the American dream for everyone. Our government needs to create a nation where anyone, if they work hard and play by the rules, can be happy and healthy, safe and free, and prosperous. That's my vision for this country, and it's a vision I share with the President.
Let's start with Mr. Collins. Many would say that the economy is the most important issue during this election. I would as well. What has your candidate done in the past 4 years to increase the amount of jobs in the United States, and what will he do in the next 4 years?
Well, David, I think that is the critical question in this entire election. And to adequately see which candidate can create jobs over the next 4 years, we need to look at their records. In the last 30 months, Barack Obama created 5 million new American jobs. That's incredible, and it would have been more. It would have been 6 or 7 million if the obstructionist radical Congress that was elected in 2010 didn't stop Obama's jobs plan. The Republican Party has the idea that lowering taxes on high-income individuals will help create jobs. I don't share this view. The average rich person, to me, doesn't hire anyone more than a few low-wage and poorly educated workers in a home. It's companies and small businesses that create jobs. And if we're going to have tax breaks, as I think we're going to talk about later, if we're going to lower taxes on people, we need to lower them on corporations and businesses, as the president has done on small businesses. We also need to lower taxes on middle-class families. The way to grow jobs in this country is not through supply-side economics, but rather through giving the middle class more money that they will then spend on products which will create more jobs here in America and around the world. So that's the president's point.
John, would you like to offer what Mitt Romney will do for the economy in the next 4 years?
Could you repeat that?
How will Mitt Romney increase the amount of jobs in America during his term as president?
Mitt Romney, contrary to popular belief, does not believe in cutting taxes for the wealthy. He believes that the best way to stimulate jobs is to cut taxes on businesses and to cut taxes on the middle class, because this country basically sits on the shoulders of the middle class. In the past 4 years, the federal spending as a percentage of the gross domestic product has reached record highs since World War II of 25%. And this is one of the highest federal budgets in terms of GDP in the entire industrial world. And frankly, it's impossible for business to flourish under such conditions. When they're being taxed so heavily, they simply cannot hire workers, they cannot foster innovation. In order to create more jobs, I would first and foremost, cap federal spending at 20%, and that would, of course, save a lot of money in terms of taxes, allowing businesses to foster growth. Also, in terms of lowering taxes on high-income individuals, as Kiernan presented, it's these high-income individuals who invest their money. That's what spurs the economy forward. That's what allows new businesses to be created. It's virtually impossible to start a small business without investment. And these investments don't come so much from these investments don't come from the middle class themselves. They come from people who are willing, who see potential for growth, and are willing to help these companies innovate.
I'd like to challenge that one. This mic is on, but nobody invests in a company that there's no demand for the product that they make. The ultimate creator of jobs is middle-class spending, because then your high-income individuals will say, hey, we should get on this bandwagon so that we can make some of this money too. It's not really, we shouldn't be giving rich people tax breaks and just hoping that they'll create jobs. That doesn't seem like a good policy to me. Does it seem like a good policy to you?
That gets me to my second point regarding taxes. I also agree, or Mitt Romney also agrees with cutting taxes on the middle class as well. In fact, he plans to make 20% cuts across the board in marginal tax rates, and even eliminate taxes on interest, dividends, and capital gains for anybody making less than $200,000 annually.
Okay, let's keep moving on to our next question. You have 1 minute for the response. What does your candidate see as the future of the United States' energy policy?
Typically, you can go with
Oh, sorry. Kiernan is correct. John, would you please answer this question?
In 2008, Obama promised 5 million green jobs throughout his presidency. Since then, he's only created thousands. Just a fraction, just a small percentage of what he promised. Also, he invested $525 million in a solar power company called Solyndra, which shortly afterwards went bankrupt, losing the federal government $525 million. So I think it's clear to me that such initiatives don't work. Rather than investing in technologies that don't yet exist, we need to work more readily and reform what exists now. America has always relied significantly on coal power, and under Obama, it doesn't seem like there's ever going to be another coal power plant created in the United States. Also, in terms of drilling, Romney plans to open up new areas for offshore drilling in order to decrease the price of unrefined oil, decrease the price of unrefined oil, and therefore stimulating the economy, and also providing several new jobs in fields that we can actually ensure jobs in, rather than investing in technologies that haven't yet taken off.
Kiernan, your response?
I would like to take a couple of these points and add on to them. The company that John mentioned, Cylinder, let's start with that, is one of 36 alternative energy companies the Obama administration invested in over the course of his 4 years in office. 33 of them have been tremendous successes, which is a success rate of 94%. Now, my guess, I haven't personally talked to him about it, is that investor Mitt Romney would like those odds, 94%, in terms of success of an alternative energy firm that the government invested in. So that's the first. Let's not cherry pick one example. Let's use the actual Obama energy policy, which has been tremendously successful in the companies he's invested in. I'd also like to respond to your point that there will never be another coal-fired power plant in the United States. And I can't speak for the president, but I sure hope there isn't. Coal is the dirtiest form of energy we can possibly use. It is tragedy. It's a tragedy for our environment. It is the principal reason that we are facing we're on the brink of environmental ruin.
Kiernan, we would like to keep the debate, so John could have his rebuttal. Kiernan, please, we're just trying to keep it to 1 minute response. No, I'm sorry, we have to give each candidate his time.
Thank you, David. I would like to say, clearly my opponent condemns coal power, but there's also the issue of oil production. And Kiernan, or Obama, he has denied construction of the Keystone extra-large pipeline, which would deliver oil directly from Canada to the United States, knowing perfectly well that that oil instead is going to be shipped to China. So we're missing an advantage to make a significant amount of, decrease our dependence on power from different continents, and rather seek trade agreements with countries that we are already closely allied with. Also, in terms of offshore drilling, by opening up new areas and allowing drilling closer to shore, it becomes a much cleaner investment and much less risky, considering the technologies involved in drilling closer to shore are far less dangerous than those offshore.
Response, Kiernan.
I'd like to start with the Keystone Pipeline. The Keystone Pipeline is a tremendous opportunity for oil companies to make profits. What John's not telling you about the Keystone Pipeline is that it's designed to run straight over the principal aquifer in the Midwest, which runs from southern South Dakota down to Kansas. This water provides irrigation for our crops and drinking water for our citizens living from Colorado all the way over to Illinois. So a spill in a Keystone Pipeline is not just another oil spill. It's a contamination of a water source that millions of Americans rely on. And to save a couple of cents a gallon in China on gas doesn't strike me as worth that risk. But let's also talk about offshore drilling. The Romney campaign and the Republican Party seem to like this idea, and it's got potential, but we need to be careful and measured about it, like the president has been. In 2011, we experienced one of the worst environmental disasters in history when the BP oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico blew up and dominated the headlines, and for weeks is still wreaking havoc on that body of water. We need to scale back on risky offshore drilling that we can't control, and there's no way to fix if it breaks.
All right. Because I'm sorry to keep cutting off here, but we must stay with the time limit.
May I respond to something you said very briefly?
We've already had 2 rebuttals each. Would you like? Okay. Let's. I would like to keep moving on to foreign policy. We may come back to the economy later on in the debate. Iran is universally recognized as the foremost threat to the security of our principal ally in the Middle East, Israel. What would your candidate do to alleviate this danger to the safety of both Israel and the United States? Kiernan.
A very simple answer. Barack Obama has dedicated his relations with Israel and his UN policy to preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. He has pursued the most rigorous and crippling economic sanctions ever placed on a country, and he did this through not with my way or the highway diplomacy of the George Bush years, but working with our allies and some other countries that we might not consider our allies. We got Russia to sign on, we got China to sign on. Every major economy in the world to stop trading with Iran, and the results can be seen in their economic collapse. But in terms of working with Israel to stop Iran from getting a bomb, in the last 4 years, we've been attacking their cyber technology to prevent them from continuing their research, and somehow, we don't know, Iranian scientists keep dying. I mean, it's really lucky for us that that happens, but I think that luck may continue if Obama's reelected.
All right. First of all, I would like to say that had the oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico been permitted to be built closer to shore, the odds of such a catastrophe would have been much smaller.
On the topic we were discussing.
Also, in terms of Iran, first of all, Obama's economic sanctions clearly have not been enough, considering they're still pursuing and still getting closer to achieving uranium enriched enough to put in a nuclear missile.
Do you have
I believe that we need more than just words in terms of this. We need to demonstrate our resolve basically by showing a military presence. We need aircraft carriers in the area. We need to have naval and military operations with our allies in the area, and basically show Iran that if they did get close enough to creating a nuclear weapon, that we would interfere. I want to avoid war as much as anybody, but considering the situation, considering that an Iranian nuclear bomb considering they're a state sponsor of terrorism, a nuclear bomb in the hands of terrorists is something that I don't want to see, something our ally Israel would never want to see, considering it would pose an imminent threat from them. We need to make it our #1 priority that Iran do not obtain a nuclear weapon.
John's ideas about putting aircraft carriers and troops and surrounding Iran with a ring of fire, or whatever it was he was talking about, are asking for another Middle Eastern war. We've been fighting in the Middle East since 2001, and we can't afford any more. We just can't. We need to use a smart approach. It's not about who can marshal the most troops and have a war of attrition with a crazy theocracy in the Middle East. We need to pursue negotiations, we need to pursue sanctions, and we hopefully will continue getting some luck with the scientists.
The current Iranian government, led by President Ahmadinejad, they're warmongers themselves. If they get a nuclear bomb, do you think they will hesitate to instigate war in the Middle East, instigate war against Israel, and eventually instigate war against us, or provide terrorists with means to pose a threat significantly stronger than they ever have before towards us? If we don't, I'm not saying we go to war, but if we do not show our resolve, then they will.
Thank you. Let's keep moving on to the foreign policy questions. What does your candidate see as the United States' future involvement in Afghanistan, John?
I believe that we have been working over the past several years to create a democratic government in Afghanistan and install basically what we believe is a government friendly towards the United States. And putting this in terms of the rest of the Arab Spring, which, as you know, it has been tumultuous at best in the Arab world, and these revolutions basically could go either way. There are people fighting for democracy. There are people fighting for the same ideals that we share as American citizens, and there are also people fighting for Sharia law and fighting for and basically fighting for terrorism. We need to, in Afghanistan and in the rest of the Middle East, we need to be absolutely certain that we influence things to a point where we can feel secure in terms of terrorism and ensure that people don't come to power who would wish the United States harm.
Kiernan?
John didn't really answer the question. And that was what our future is in the Middle East. Not in the Middle East, rather, but in Afghanistan specifically. This is the longest war the United States has ever fought. And obviously, I think we can all agree that going in after Osama bin Laden was a good decision. And The president got him. He's dead. We have nothing more to fear from Osama bin Laden. And with that, President Obama has started to scale back in Afghanistan. He ended the war in Iraq in 2011, and he has said that he will. It's not any wait-and-see policy about the Afghan government or anything. He will end the war in Afghanistan by 2014. It will be over, and our troops will come home so they can do some nation building here in America.
I do believe in seeking to end the war in Afghanistan, but unlike Obama, I don't believe in setting dates for withdrawing the troops. While it is true, Obama has scaled back. There's no such thing as simply ending the war in Afghanistan, because you need to put it in the broader context of the entire Arab world. Things aren't as isolated there as we would like to think. The war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, the trouble in Iran. It's all connected to the same thing. It's all connected to Islamic terrorism, and it's all basically, it's all part of a larger context, and we need to ensure that we can influence things to go the right way.
This idea about not setting deadlines is asking for endless war. It's the same language that was used by those who wanted to continue fighting in Vietnam. It's the same language that was used by the Republicans in 2008 when they said that we didn't need to set a deadline for Iraq, and it's what the Republicans are saying now. They seem to want to continue to fight in the Middle East indefinitely. We can't afford that. Our principal goal has to be the security of the United States. We invaded Afghanistan so that we could decimate Al-Qaeda. That has been done tenfold. Osama is dead and his top lieutenants are dead. We have nothing more to fear from this sort of group, provided that we continue the drone attacks that we've been using and our policy of intelligence and surveillance. We don't need to fight a ground war in Afghanistan there's no end date for. That doesn't seem like a good fiscal policy, a good foreign policy. It's good for no one.
Thanks to both of you for your opinions on the Middle East. Let's move on to some social issues. Kiernan, what is your candidate's position on gay marriage?
Barack Obama became the first president in American history to favor gay marriage earlier this year. I think that the president has not always done this, but the remarkable nature of that, to me, is all you need to know about this issue. That Barack Obama has said that he favors gay marriage, and he has implemented policies and done actions that will stand up for that point of view. He repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He stopped enforcing the Reactionary Defense of Marriage Act. He is pursuing a more free future and a more just future for all Americans. The Republican ticket does not share this view. They believe that gay marriage is bad for America, and it should be banned. Not only left up to the states, but banned outright. This is what Mitt Romney has said. He does not favor gay marriage, and I guess if that's your opinion, vote for Romney. But if you're on the side of civil rights and on the side of justice, you're standing with the president.
First of all, I would like to say that this should not be looked at as the most important issue in this election. A vote for Romney is not a vote for gay marriage. The economy is what's truly pressing. The economy is what matters. And then second of all, I would like to say that I do not personally agree with my candidate's stance on this issue. But I would like to point out that Romney has been a strong advocate of states' rights throughout his entire campaign. And his strategy is not to make gay marriage illegal, but to leave it up to the states, which it currently is. So we would not be facing changes in terms of that policy. Second of all, Kiernan said that Obama was the first president in history to to publicly support gay marriage. I would like to say that I would like to ask Kiernan, how long into his term in office did Obama announce this?
It was a while. Barack Obama did not initially adopt a position of gay marriage. He ran in 2008 and on a different platform. But I think that like our country, President Obama has moved towards a more progressive view of this issue, and that is something that I admire, an ability to see things and to say, well, circumstances...
Kiernan, may I continue speaking?
It's actually his time.
You asked me.
You were about
It's important to keep it I would like to dispute this idea that gay marriage is some sort of issue that doesn't matter, which is what the Republican position has been here, because John has been decent enough not to say that we should get rid of it outright, like the people who's representing you. But the fact is, it is an important issue. It's the most important issue for millions of Americans who need the right to marry the person that they love. And I would also like to back up to this idea of states' rights and leaving it up to the states. Let me give you a couple other examples of issues that we could have left up to the states and not had. No, hold on a second. Hold on.
My candidate has often been accused of flip-flopping, but in the context of politics, I want to point out that Obama is not free from this as well, considering he did not publicly support gay marriage when he was running to be elected and when he was first elected. It took him a few years in office until he realized that publicly supporting gay marriage would win him a greater percentage of the vote, that he finally announced his position. Also, I would like to say that Republicanism, like I said before, I personally am in favor of legalizing gay marriage, but I want to point out that that's not just me, that's a trend among all young Republicans. I know all of the Republicans who I represent in the Hall High School Young Republicans, and basically across the nation, the party is growing, the party is evolving, and I think as time goes on, we will see less adherence to traditional religious-based values and more towards the whole civil rights issue that Kiernan was mentioning. And I feel the party is growing, and I feel Romney will not take steps to outlaw gay marriage.
We would like now to move on to some more social issues. John, how does your candidate feel about the media dubbed Republican war on women? And you can include abortion in your response if you so choose.
I feel that this media dubbed war on women is offensive. It's offensive to the Republican Party, it's offensive to women. It's based on the comments of a few Republican senators who have basically been asked to step down by their party. It's also based on the fact that Obama supports abortion, whereas Mitt Romney does not. It's not so much that, and I would like to mention that Romney cannot overturn Roe v. Wade because of judicial review, so he will not make abortion illegal. What he will do, however, is ensure that government money does not go towards institutions such as Planned Parenthood, whose essentially sole function is to administer abortions.
Yeah, would you like to respond?
Oh, good. It's my turn now. All right. Let's back up a second. It's not just a couple of Republican senators, but if we want to talk about those senators, Richard Murdoch is the state treasurer of Indiana. He's running for the United States Senate out of that state. He said that rape was in God's plan.
Mitt Romney did not say that.
Mitt Romney endorsed Richard Murdoch 2 days before his comments in a 30-second political ad aired all over the state of Indiana, and Paul Ryan, who's running mate, said, "Please send us Richard Murdoch. We need this man in the United States Senate." If you think we need this man in the United States Senate, this man who thinks that rape is God's gift, then I mean, sure, vote for Romney. But this party has nominated people who are so far out of any rational thought that I don't know how Mitt Romney can label himself a Republican with these people. And furthermore, I think that you need to take a step back and look at that Romney has opposed mandating that insurance companies provide contraceptive services to women, and so has the Congress. These services, by the way, are the same as.
I find it offensive that the federal government has mandated these services because it should be the choice of the woman, not the choice of the government, to provide contraception. It should not be the government telling women how to treat their bodies. It should not be the government telling them how to live their lives. And also, regarding the Republican senators, the Democratic Party is not short of people who have said dumb things at dumb times, and Romney no longer supports that senator, and neither does basically anybody in the Republican Party. And to generalize a Republican war on women based on the comments of one person is offensive.
I'm generalizing it based on the fact that the Republican-controlled House of Representatives made it and expressed their opposition to mandating that insurance companies provide contraceptive services, and so did your candidate. It's ridiculous to say that if an insurance company is obligated to provide contraceptive services to a woman, that they are somehow imposing their will on that woman. All insurance companies have to provide coverage for heart attacks, but it doesn't mean I have to have a heart attack. It doesn't mean I have to utilize the service in order to have it provided to them.
That metaphor does not make much sense to me.
It absolutely considering all women are their insurance providers are obligated to give them access, not force them to use. Give them access to contraception and have that be paid for. It does not mean that they have to use it. Just as if I had a heart attack, I would be covered by my insurance company, but I do not have to use that service if I don't have one.
Thank you.
If you
continue this discussion, or we could go on to a quick talk about immigration. What would you choose?
If we have the option, I'd like to return to talk about the economy.
Are you okay? The economy. You have a minute to discuss the economy if you like. John, thank you.
All right. First, I want to mention, as Kiernan said earlier, he claims that Obama has created several new jobs, and I want to say that several meaning what Kiernan claims to be 5 million, and that number has the rate of unemployment when Obama entered office was at an all-time high, and he promised that he would essentially cut it in half by the end of his term as president. And I want to say that he has not cut it in half. He promised unemployment rates of 5.4% by this date, and instead, he's looking at unemployment rates of 7.9%.
Okay.
Lately, he's also been boasting about...
Kiernan, would you please respond to who wants to close?
Certainly. I think that looking at the president's record and Governor Romney's record on the issue of job creation is a very important one. As I said, and it's not the so-called anything, President Obama has created 5 million new jobs in the past 30 months. Including 190,000 in the last month, and we just got the numbers this morning. Governor Romney, on the other hand, during his term in office as governor of Massachusetts, led Massachusetts to an astonishingly low 47th in national job creation out of 50 states. Now, I mean, I guess if that's a good record to you, then we can go with that, but I don't like that. And then if we go back farther in Mr. Romney's career, he made fortunes shipping American jobs to China, and this is not something that I want in a president. I don't want an outsourcer in chief. I want someone who's going to fight for American workers and make sure we have American jobs, not more in China.
We would like to move on to our closing statements. John, we really would like to. If you want to have your full closing statements, we'd have to move on right now. So we both have our opinions on economy.
I would really like to respond.
I'm sorry, we have to move on to the closing statements. Kiernan, you spoke second during opening statements, so you can speak first with your closing statement.
All right. You've heard a lot of opinions today from the two of us, and you've heard a lot about the candidates, and I think that's important. That it's important that we had this debate, and it's important that we continue to have this debate, and that you continue to have this debate over the course of the next few days, going up to the election, and then into the future when you have the ability to vote. I don't know. Do any of you have the ability to vote this year? Raise your hands. Awesome. Please do so. Whoever you vote for, please make sure that you vote. But let me talk about this election for a second. This election is about nothing less than the future of our country. We have a stark choice, as John said earlier, between a ticket that wants to take us backwards and a president that wants to continue moving forwards. Mitt Romney wants to bring us back to, as Barack Obama said, the foreign policy of the 1980s, the social policies of the 1950s, and the economic policies of the 1920s. I don't want to live in the past. I want to move forward. I want to move forward with the president's agenda of middle-class job growth and increased freedoms for our country, increased opportunity for all citizens. And I think that we've seen that in the past 4 years. It's been a refreshing contrast to the last 8 under George Bush. And I think that we should continue with Barack Obama in 2012. Thank you very much.
I would like to continue what I was saying before. The study that Kiernan mentioned a moment ago regarding...
John, could you please move on to your closing statement?
I will shorten my closing statement.
John, this is strictly for closing statements, not for topics that we've already discussed.
The unemployment rate went up from last month to this month by 0.1%. 300,000 jobs. 300,000 more people looking for work who can't find it. This is a turnaround, and if Kiernan wants to keep moving us, if Kiernan and Obama want to keep moving us forward, then forward will be towards higher unemployment rates and an anemic economy. And I would, as for my closing statement, I'll make it short since I used my time for that. But I want to say that when a president runs for re-election, all he has to run on is his track record, and my opponent's candidate has none. Therefore, the only weapon he has is creating fear of electing his opponent. I hope I've helped convince you of the value of small government. It's also time to release the American economy from the chokehold of the highly regulated, highly taxed Obama administration. And Mitt Romney is the candidate to get our country back on track.
Thank you all for coming. This concludes the third Connecticut Hall High School political debate. We hope you learned something and that you will make an educated decision if you choose to vote. Thank you.